everyone, and welcome to the Room of Requirement. My name is Megan, and I have over 25 years of occult and esoteric study and practice. And today, the long-awaited video that I've been talking about. I've tried to record this one several times, and it just hasn't worked out. So hopefully, this one will stick. I'm going to be talking about spirit guides and angels and how to communicate with them. And this is going to be a comprehensive look from every angle. I'm going to be talking about the Gnostic view, religious views, the Jungian view, into psychology, and more of a existential and humanistic view to give you a really well-rounded understanding of guides and angels. So stick around to the end because I'm going to tell you some tips on how to communicate with them. And one of them is going to be super easy. I wanted to do a video that was a little bit different than most that are out there. There is tons of videos out there that have these really long, drawn-out ways of how to communicate with guides and angels. And it's a lot simpler than that. So I just want to hit this from a different angle. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this one. And I would love to hear your experiences with this and your opinions. So make sure you drop that down in the comments below. So let's go ahead and just dive right in. Okay, so not a New Age viewpoint. So connecting with your guides usually feels like a one-way street. And why it feels like a one-way street is because our logic mind tends to get in the way. Our guides and angels come through us in subconscious ways. It's ways that we are not fully aware of at the time. So a lot of us have these ideas that it's going to be some booming voice that's going to come through and answer you. And it can happen. It's really rare. But most of the time, it doesn't happen that way. It takes a lot of energy for them to come down to our frequency to give us these messages. So it usually comes through really, really subtle and in different signs and symbols and things like that. And so a lot of people think, well, I don't hear from them, so they must not be listening to me. But it's not that. It's about a frequency level. Okay, so we're going to kind of dive into that. So all of the experiences that I have had have been pretty profound for me. I was never one that put a whole lot of stock in the notion and talked to them every day. It wasn't just like a huge part of my life like it is for some people, and that's okay. And so the reason why I called this not a New Age viewpoint is because in kind of like the New Age viewpoint, it's fairly new. You know, it started in the 60s and 70s, but this concept of guides and angelic beings and all of this goes way back into ancient times. And so I really wanted to delve into that too, to give you like a really comprehensive understanding about what this really is. So it mainly has to do with frequencies. It has to do with our subconscious, our conscious mind, and how we perceive things. And our logic mind always tends to get in the way, and we always question things all the time. Like, and it's kind of funny, I'll hear jokes about people, well, they get a sign and they're like, okay, well, send me another sign to tell me that the sign was a sign that I got, right? So I hope you guys really enjoy this one. I would love to hear your thoughts on this and your experiences, so make sure that you drop those down in the comments below. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my thoughts and my experiences with them. So all of my experiences have been really profound for me. I was never one who put a whole lot of stock in the notion and talked to them like daily until something happened where I just knew it was a message through them, from them, through my subconscious, through my perception, until I really understood it was like a deep knowing. That's like the difference. That's how you can tell it's something, if it's some just kind of outside energy that's kind of coming through. It feels more like a deep knowing. It's kind of like this unmistakable thing, right? It's too much of a coincidence, and that's really how you know they're coming through. Also, I wanted to make the point that it's important to understand that they are not entirely outside of you. And I'm going to explain this later on in the video. Okay, I know this kind of throws people from a loop. We always kind of think that everything resides on the outside of us. And some of them are to a certain extent, but it more has to do with vibrations and frequencies. And I also wanted to say it's not good practice to rely solely on them. It's very important that you stand in your own sovereignty and your own discernment, and not look at them as someone that you can just call on for every little single thing. It really doesn't work that way. It doesn't feel as profound as it needs to when you do that constantly. So it's really important to just kind of go about your business and ask for their help when you need it, and then just wait for it to come in. It takes some time. Sometimes it happens immediate, sometimes it takes a few hours, sometimes days, sometimes weeks. And then usually by then we kind of forget about it, and then we don't really notice it when it happens. And so that's why we kind of think that we're not being answered when it does happen. So let's just dive right in, and I'll explain this a little bit better. Okay, so my thoughts. So I went through a stage where I was very discriminate and discerning about the information that I was getting from outside of myself. And this may come from my occult and esoteric background, okay, if it, like my own belief systems. I have had instances where I was like, well, that was profound, and I just knew that it was real. And this happened to me a few times while practicing high magic. And what I'm referring to right now is angels, okay? So in high magic, magicians work directly with angelic beings. We invoke them regularly. So I had several experiences while I was performing ritual magic or high magic, and we worked directly with the Kabbalistic tree of life, the angels, the angelic correspondences, the planetary correspondences, and we work with the elements too. So I'm also a paranormal investigator, and so I know the difference. And because of my abilities I've had since I was a child, I've always been able to see things, hear things, feel things, parasomnia, all the whole nine yard. I've had out-of-body experiences, astral travel, all of this, right? So I know the difference between the different type of energies. And when they would come through, it was extremely powerful and it felt more neutral to me, right? So that's how I learned how to tell if it was really something or if it was just something in my environment or something that my subconscious was projecting out into my environment. So then I went through a stage when I found God or the divine, whatever you want to call it. It's like I figured out that it was all just the same, just different forms, names, categories, and so on, but they're all deeply interconnected. And that's what I mean by they're not completely outside of yourself, because all of our experiences are personal to us. There have been instances where people will see them like in a group setting, several people will see them, but for the most part, it's a really personal experience. And so it's hard to really prove it. And so that's what I mean by it's kind of like all within you. Okay, so I know they're there, and they will answer me if I need them. So that makes complete sense to me. But all in all, it's just once I reached a certain level of spiritual enlightenment, I realized that I needed to stand in my own sovereignty and, embrace my own power and just of discernment and knowing when these things are really happening. But I don't base my whole life and have all my decisions made and with the aid of guides, right? So that's what I mean by like standing in your own sovereignty. Okay, so I'm going to talk about angels from a gnostic viewpoint. Now, I found this article from a gnostic website that I found was really, really intriguing, and I wanted to throw this in here. So, quote, because of the belief that the spirit of a person was trying to get back to heaven, worship of angels in astrology was a common tenet of Gnosticism, since angels and the patterns of the stars and planets were believed to hold keys to the spiritual journey. At the core of Gnosticism is a belief that knowledge, typically secret knowledge, knowledge from angels, from the stars and planets, from the ancients, was the path to holiness and salvation. So this super resonates with me because of my background. So I believe in reincarnation. So guides from the other side make sense to me. Deceased loved ones are around and they can come through. And I've experienced this, as a paranormal investigator and in my own personal experience. So that makes sense to me from a paranormal standpoint. So all of these things stick, right? So when I say like They're not completely outside of you. It's just that your experience with them is extremely personal and it's really not provable, if that makes sense. So, guides from across the dimensions. Embarking on a spiritual journey is a profound experience, often filled with introspection, growth, and transformation. Throughout history, many have believed in the presence of spirit guides and angels assisting us on the path. We will explore their roles, historical significance, and how they interact with us in our daily lives. Understanding spirit guides and angels. Spirit guides are considered spiritual entities that provide guidance, wisdom, and support. They are thought to have once been human or other beings who have attained a higher level of consciousness. So this ties into ascended masters and divine avatars as well. I have done a video on that if you guys want to know a little bit more about that. So these guides are often seen as mentors, helping us navigate the complexities of life, and they were never human. Okay, well, ascended masters were human, and then they evolved. But for the most part, the regular spirit guides and deceived loved ones, they were human. Angels, on the other hand, are often depicted as celestial beings, serving as messengers between the divine and the earthly realm. They are traditionally seen as protectors and caretakers, often offering love, comfort, and guidance, and they were never human. I'm really wanting to do a video just solely on angelic beings and dive into their hierarchies and all of their qualities and all of that. So if you guys are interested, drop in the comments and let me know. But that's something that I really want to do, is talk about just like solely angels. Historical significance. Throughout history, the concept of spirit guides and angels has appeared across various cultures and religions. In ancient Egypt, Egyptians believed in the existence of protective spirits and gods who guided the soul through the afterlife. Greek and Roman mythology. The idea of personal guardians was prevalent, with deities like Hermes and Mercury acting as guides. Indigenous cultures. Many Native American tribes have traditions involving spirit animals or totems regarded as spiritual guides. In Christianity, angels play a significant role, with figures like Archangel Michael and Gabriel known for their protective and guiding roles. In Eastern traditions, in Hinduism and Buddhism, spiritual guides are often depicted as enlightened beings or ascended masters. The role of spirit guides and angels. Spirit guides and angels are believed to assist us in various ways. They offer guidance. They provide insight and direction, especially when faced with difficult decisions. Providing protection. Acting as protectors, they help shield us from negative energies and harm. Facilitating growth. By encouraging self-reflection, they help us learn valuable lessons and grow spiritually. Enhancing intuition. They help us tap into our inner wisdom and strengthen our intuitive abilities. Understanding spirit guides and angels. Spirit guides and angels often appear in conversations about spirituality and metaphysics. While frequently associated with New Age beliefs, the concept of spirit guides and angels has roots that extend deep into various cultural, religious, and philosophical traditions. Historical and cultural perspectives. Ancient civilizations. Mesopotamia and Egypt. In ancient Mesopotamian and Egyptian cultures, spiritual entities played significant roles. These Mesopotamians believed in the pantheon of gods and spirits that mediated between humans and the divine. Similarly, the ancient Egyptians revered a hierarchy of deities and guardian spirits such as the Ka and Ba, which were believed to guide and protect individuals. Greek and Roman traditions. The Greek and Romans had rich pantheons filled with gods, demigods, and spirits. The concept of a daemon or demon in Greek philosophy was an intermediary spirit between the divine and the human realms, often personalized as a guiding force or protector. Indigenous beliefs. Indigenous cultures across the world have long recognized the presence of spirit guides in various forms. For instance, Native American traditions often include the belief that animal spirits, or totems, guide and protect individuals throughout their lives. These guides are seen as integral to personal and community identity. Asian philosophies, Hinduism and Buddhism. In Hinduism, the concept of the Ishtadeva refers to a personal deity or spiritual guide that aids in the individual's spiritual journey. In Buddhism, bodhisattvas are reviewed as enlightened beings who voluntarily assist others in achieving enlightenment. Shinto and Taoism. In Shinto, the indigenous spirituality of Japan, kami are spirits associated with natural elements and ancestors guiding and influencing human affairs. Taoism also speaks of immortal sages and spiritual entities that guide practitioners in aligning with the Tao or the natural order. Religious interpretations. In Christianity, angels are considered messengers of God, tasked with delivering divine messages and offering protection. The Bible includes numerous accounts of angelic interventions, such as Archangel Gabriel announcing the birth of Jesus. Angels are viewed as benevolent beings, distinct from human souls. Islamic teachings include belief in angels as well. In Islam, angels are created from light and serve as obedient servants of Allah, carrying out divine orders. The Quran mentions several angels, including Gabriel or Jibril, who conveyed the Quran to protect Muhammad. In Judaism also recognizes the existence of angels. They are seen as agents of God, with roles spanning from guardianship to executing divine judgment. Rabbinic literature elaborates on the hierarchy and function of angels, especially their role as intermediary beings. So in Judaism, you're talking about Kabbalah. It's spelled with a C, a Q, a K. You'll see it spelled differently. This is what they practice in high magic. So the Kabbalistic tree of life, the Sephiro, it has angelic correspondences, planetary correspondences, tarot correspondences, elemental correspondences, all of these things. So Judaism, or Kabbalah itself, which is kind of a sect off of Judaism, that we rely heavily on the tree of life and the angelic entities that we invoke in rituals. So this one right here, I know quite a bit about. Okay, so now we're going to get into philosophical and psychological interpretations. In Jungian psychology, Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist, introduced the concept of the archetype, which includes the idea of spiritual guides as symbols representing deeper aspects of the human psyche. Jung believed that these guides could manifest in dreams or visions, providing insight and guidance from the unconscious mind. So this is where I was getting at when I was saying they are not completely outside of you, they're actually within you, because they're so ingrained in the subconscious over the millennia with everybody, okay? So if you're wanting to know a little bit more about this, you can research Carl Jung and his dream interpretations, his shadow work, all of his work. He talks in depth about all of this, okay? Existential and humanistic perspectives. From an existential viewpoint, spirit guides and angels can be understood as symbolic representations of one's inner moral compass or conscience, guiding individuals toward authenticity and ethical living. Humanistic psychology interprets these guides as manifestations of an individual's potential for growth and self-actualization. Spirit guides and angels, an esoteric and occult perspective. In the realms of esoteric and occult traditions, spirit guides and angels hold a significant place. They are believed to be ethereal beings that assist, guide, and protect individuals on their spiritual journeys. We will delve into the nature of these mystical entities, their roles, and how one can connect with them. Understanding guides. What are spirit guides? Spirit guides are non-physical beings that are believed to assist individuals in navigating their life paths. They are thought to be the spirits of ancestors, nature spirits, or other entities that have chosen to offer guidance. Ancestors, often viewed as wise beings who have a vested interest in the descendants' well-being. So you will see this in a lot of different indigenous practices, especially. as well as nature spirits. You're going to see this more in the Celtic and pagan faiths. So these guides are connected to the natural world, embodying elements like earth, air, fire, and water. The ascended masters, enlightened beings who have transcended human limitations and now offer wisdom and guidance. Exploring angels in the occult tradition. The nature of angels. In many esoteric traditions, angels are considered celestial beings of light, love, and purity. They are often seen as messengers of the divine, bridging the gap between the physical and spiritual worlds. Archangels. Powerful angels with distinct roles and responsibilities such as Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael. Guardian angels. Personal angels assigned to individuals for guidance and protection throughout their lives. So, I don't know if you guys have heard of this term before, but I came across it in my studies. They're called unemployed angels. So you can ask for guidance from them. They are ones that aren't tied to a specific human being at the time. They're usually in the area. So if you need assistance, you can call on the unemployed angels to assist you with things sometimes. I've done that in the past. So the functions of angels. Angels serve numerous functions within the occult and esoteric beliefs. So there are generally 72 angels, and then there's archangels, and then there's 72 goetic entities. So those two get worked with a lot in high magic and esoteric and cult practices. So that people think that usually there's just, the archangels and then a few under that. I've even heard the number 22, but there's actually 72 of them. And they all have, different names. A lot of them you probably haven't heard of. But there are quite a bit. And then there's the unemployed angels that aren't assigned. So you can, use those as well. So angels serve numerous functions with the occult and esoteric beliefs. They're messengers. They convey messages from the divine, offering clarity and instruction. In healers, angels are associated with healing, both physical and emotional, often called upon in rituals and prayers. They are protectors. Like spirit guides, angels are believed to shield individuals from negative influences and danger. Connecting with guides and angels. So here are a few things these are more occult geared on how to connect with your angels and guides. So rituals and practices. Establishing a connection with spirit guides and angels typically involves specific rituals and practices. So I spoke about those earlier with high magic. They all have planetary hours, the best time to invoke them. Like Zadkiel, for instance, is best invoked on Monday at 6 a.m. It gets really, really involved, and there's a lot of correspondences there. But that's what they're referring to as rituals and practices. Meditation, a common method to quiet the mind and open oneself to spiritual communication. So I've done this a lot. And then there's invocation. I've done this quite a bit, using prayers or chants to call upon the guides and angels for assistance. So there are actual invocations out there that you can find. A lot of them are in grimoires and codices from the Renaissance era. And then there's some new ones that are created by covens today, things like that. Dream work. This one's really important. This ties more into the Jungian aspect. So dream work, paying attention to dreams, which are considered a conduit for receiving guidance from these beings. So when we are in our dream state, our conscious mind is put aside and our subconscious mind comes forward. So their blocks are actually brought down. So it's easier for spirit guides, angels, our deceased loved ones, everything to come to us in dreams. So that's why, it's easier for them when we are in kind of, I don't want to say weakened state, it's more of an unaware state where we are not so blocked by our logical mind, so it's easier for them to come through in dreams. Okay, so connecting with spirit guides and angels. To cultivate a relationship with these spirit companions, consider the following practices. Meditation and mindfulness. Create a quiet space for reflection, allowing yourself to connect with your inner guides. Journaling. Write down thoughts, feelings, and any messages you receive, fostering a deeper connection. So you can also do automatic writing. This helps as well. Prayer and affirmations. Use prayer and positive affirmations to invite guidance and express gratitude for their presence. being out in nature and solitude, spending time in nature, embracing stillness, and allowing for introspection. So this is another way where you can connect with the divine in many, many ways. It's one of the best ways that you can do this. So when you do communicate with them, so I'll tell you the secret to it. Talk to them. That's all you got to do. You don't have to do these really long, drawn out things that you've heard before, read before, or seen before. It's really super simple. The farther along that you get on your spiritual path, you realize that all of the long, drawn out rituals, they're really not knocking them. They do help people that aren't at a certain level of awareness of the divine and communion. And so they need these things, these methods to connect with them. But I'm telling you, the secret is all you have to do is get quiet in a meditation, sit down and talk to them and ask, and then just know that it's going to be brought to you in its own divine timing. If we don't get the things answered, it's because it's not for our best and highest good, and it's just not the right time. It takes a lot of energy for them to work behind the scenes. It's very complex. It involves frequencies, free will, all of these different things for them to come through. So it's not that they're not communicating with you or giving you what you're asking them to do. And sometimes we ask them for the wrong things. So just be very discriminate on what you ask them for. And they will try their best to do it, but it just takes time, and it has to be for your best and highest good, and nothing. It is universal law that they cannot interfere with your free will. So that's why it seems like we're disconnected from them, but you're actually not. They're always there. They're always listening. So here are some signs and symbols that they're actually coming through. Synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that occur in one's life, believed to be influenced by these entities. I don't even like using the word coincidences. To me, there are no coincidences. They just happen. You believe me. When they happen, you know that it's them. It's unmistakable. When there's just no way. It's like you can't make it up. These things just happen. Feathers and coins are one thing. It could be more than feathers and coins. It could be birds. It could be a number of different things. A song that you hear on the radio, you ask a question, and then you're in the grocery store, and then you get an answer. It comes more in the form of divine inspiration than anything, okay? There's many, many ways, but it's extremely subtle, and you got to remember that it's hard for them to lower their frequency down to have something that's going to just like straight up land in your face. And so that's why so many people are confused about how they come through. Then there's numerology. This one's very, very prevalent. This one is one of the ones that happens to me constantly. So it's repetitive numbers or patterns like 111 or 444. They're thought to be messages from guides and angels. So whenever you see these things, stop and think about what you were thinking about before or something that is bothering you. Sometimes it'll be accompanied by ringing in the ears. That is them trying to speak directly to you. It is the universe trying to let you know that you're on the right path. So when this does happen, instead of feeling like you're in the dark, just think about what problem you were going through, what question you asked, or what you asked for help for, what you asked help for. Just think about that whenever you see these numbers, and then you're going to be able to make the dots. It just takes practice, and you've got to get the ego and the logical mind out of the way, and then you will start to see it. The more you connect with the divine, the more you commune with the divine, the easier it's going to be for these things to come through. And that's just the big secret, okay? So in conclusion, in esoteric and occult perspective, spirit guides and angels are invaluable allies on the spiritual journey. Understanding their roles and learning to connect with them can provide profound insights, guidance, and protection. Embracing the presence of these ethereal beings opens pathways to deeper spiritual awareness and personal transformation. Through rituals, meditation, and an open heart, individuals can cultivate a meaningful relationship with these celestial guides. So you have to ask from the heart, and you have to feel it. It's a lot like manifesting. You cannot be attached to the outcome, when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen, who's going to be involved. And you have to feel it from your heart chakra. You have to just know it with this deep inner knowing, and you have to feel it from your heart and know that it is already done and complete in your mind. And that's when the messages come through. Spirit guides and angels serve as invaluable allies on our spiritual journey, offering guidance, protection, and insight. By acknowledging their presence both externally and within, we can cultivate a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the universe. Embrace this connection and allow it to illuminate your path to spiritual fulfillment. While New Age beliefs have popularized certain interpretations of spirit guides and angels, these entities have been an integral part of human spirituality across cultures and vast time periods. They offer a rich tapestry of meanings, from protectors and messengers to symbols of personal growth and enlightenment. By exploring these concepts with various lenses, we can gain a deeper appreciation for their enduring presence in human consciousness and spirituality. Okay, you guys, that's all I have for you. I hope this really brought you some clarity on how this happens. I hope I explained what's blocking you, how you can really connect with them. I would love to hear your guys' stories. Please put those in the comments below. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear those too. I've got some other things that I'm working on. I have so many ideas that I don't know exactly what to settle on. So I'm just going to wait for some divine inspiration, and I'm going to get something else going. So I will see you guys next time around. Thank you for sticking along, and I'll see you later. Bye.